So, hello and welcome to another boost. Um, I'm trying something different here. So, if you're seeing this and me talking now, it means it hasn't gone right. So, this is called Digital Detox, and I'm really feeling under pressure with digital right now. And I don't know about you guys. The aim of this is that I should be in a field presenting this from you. I've given it a go. I've taken my laptop to the field. I've got my 4G sorted, so connecting to it just to really try and switch off. Because it's overwhelming at the minute with technology, and this is a massive problem, a massive challenge. And I love technology. So if you're watching this, it's because I'm stood in a field right now and it's not worked. There's been some connection issue. I'm probably stressed out. And this is the backup. So I wanted to record something as a backup just in case it didn't work. But even though it's a backup, I still want to talk you through the importance of digital detox. And probably, if you are watching this, it's probably now more important than ever. I think we are connected with technology in a time like never before. I think lockdown has forced us closer to the technology. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And it's massively empowering and productive, but it's also a challenge. It's also a challenge. And sometimes we forget, and sometimes it's too easy to pick up that phone, and sometimes it's easier to disconnect than it is to connect. And I think this is why digital detox is so important. Am I very good at this? No. Am I trying to get better at this? Definitely. And I think the question that I sometimes feel is this guilt about being constantly connected, being constantly plugged in, checking emails. Are we over checking things? Are we on social media when there's people around us that we could be talking with them? It's a challenge. It's a massive challenge, and just for one time only, I'm gonna be a bit negative around the technology. And I think once we understand maybe what the technology is doing, maybe then we can find that balance. And that's what this is about, finding that balance and putting it down to use it better, to feel better. So let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. And and I'm sure you're even aware, it might not be coming across, but there's a bit of music playing. I'm sat down. I'm going to try my best to talk slower and calmer. We really want to try and make this a pleasant experience. And obviously, if it is working, I'll be in a field and there might be cows running around. So, um, and why am I showing this picture on the screen now? So, there's some real power in looking at images and what it does to your brain, and it allows you to relax. And this is one of the first findings: is when you look at natural patterns in nature, the brain starts to relax, and it's even better if you're in nature doing it. But if we can't, how do we get some of those? And we're going to throw in some of these little moments in this training, which is going to be quick. We don't want to keep you here longer than you need to be, just to have those moments to relax. So let's talk about human impact. Let's talk about the way technology is impacting our life. Now, I did some research on this, and some of the things I found I didn't really like. We probably know this, but it's reported that social media appears to promote narcissism. I struggle with that word. This is from Michigan University reports. I think it's true. I think we see it more and more. Smartphones could be causing insomnia. This is research from San Francisco, University of California, regards the blue light that's emitted. And if we're consuming that before we go to bed, this is not giving us good sleep. It might be giving us sleep, but is it really giving us good sleep? And it leads on to other things, problems, disease, and things. So sleep is so important. This one I really I really didn't like, and it made me really sort of wake up. Screens seem to be making our kids less empathetic. Did put my teeth in this morning. So it's a UK scientist, Ian McGilchrist, I think it is, thinks that young kids spending too much time on tablets and on phones, they're struggling to read other people's body language and human interactions. It's actually a sign of autism that they're seeing caused by these devices, which is a massive, massive worrying thing. With someone with two kids, I'm thinking, wow, wow, and I worry if I've actually seen part of it as well. Um, and breathe. So this other picture here now, just for a moment, is that people that live by the beach are far more likely to be relaxed and easygoing, and they believe it's something to do with the rhythm of the ocean and how it can calm our brains down. So although we're not at the beaches right now, you might be. I'm in a field. Um, let's just have a moment and think about that and try and relax. Don't know if that music's helping or not. I might pause the music and go without it. So the next thing to talk about is our addiction to our mobile phones. They're an amazing, amazing device, but we are addicted to them. Nomophobia is a real thing. This feeling of being without your phone. How mad is that? People have actually developed a word for this fear associated with it, and it's very, very real. And something that's really interested me is that they found a new brainwave. So when you're using your mobile phone, we're actually emitting a new brainwave that they've never ever seen before, and that's crazy and that's exciting. It also means that we're probably evolving to our phones, to these devices. Now, the theory of evolution is we evolve to our surroundings. Now, have we ever carried a device on us, an electrical device in our pockets, in our bags, like we have the phones before in the history of mankind? No. A watch might have been the first thing or got closest to it, but nothing like the power that's inside a phone. And it's changing us. It's changing us. And might it be changing us for the better? Possibly, but we don't know. We just don't know, and that's the truth of the matter. But we are evolving, and the mobile phone is a relatively new thing as well, be it that obviously we rely on it so much. And a moment of calm. Um, so yeah, this is just about being outdoors, and the impact it has on us, especially around trees. They call it forest bathing, and it's very popular in Japan. And many workplaces are trying to adopt this feeling and take people out into walks in the forest to recover from stress. Um, so let's move on. Switching off. So this is where we have to figure out a way to switch off and take back control if we want to. And there was a really, really interesting experiment done where they took 35 CEOs and managers and entrepreneurs to a trip. I think they went to Morocco. And the idea of this trip was to monitor their behavior with and without technology. So these people are so dependent on technology. So what would they do? How would they cope without it? And how would it change them? And on the first day, they got there, they allowed them the technology, they all checked into a hotel together. They didn't know each other, which was key. And they just monitored that first day and how people behaved. And it was pretty much the norm as what you'd expect. And then a few really interesting things started to happen. After 3 days without technologies, people posture changed noticeably, which is a crazy thing to say. So people started standing upright, looking into people's eyes, pushing their heads back, correcting the spine after just 3 days. We joke about this hunch with the phone, but it's so true, and there's this physical impact that it can be having on us. The other thing that they noticed was just better conversation. So although I love Google, it's a conversation killer. It's the death of the pub quiz. You cannot say something without someone searching and filling in the gaps for you or correcting you if you're wrong. And that has really stifled conversation. Now, what happened in this experiment is actually people couldn't Google something. So they were just able to talk, able to have conversations, even get things wrong. Even prefix with this is I might be wrong here, but it allowed conversation, it allowed discovery, and they noticed it. Of the 35 people, everyone stated as that one of the reason that they took from the experiment. The other thing that they had was an improved memory. So what technology does, and this world of search and information, it means we don't have to remember things. And it's been found that our attention spans are less than a goldfish now, which is mad. But what they found is that it actually improved people's memories, the small stuff, like remembering someone's name, so important. And technology is a bit of a barrier. When they took that away, they found that we were able to then fill in those filing cabinets in our brains with those facts which are so vital, but probably with everything else going on in the world, sometimes don't see that vital. And the people got more efficient sleep. Now, I really find this really interesting. What does more efficient mean? It doesn't mean more sleep. They weren't sleeping for longer, but they felt more refreshed. And they did some research around it as well, and they found that they were having better sleep, deeper sleep, better patterns, waking up more naturally as well. And again, we've talked about this mobile phone and this danger of having it in the bedroom and the impact it could be having on sleep. But it went a bit deeper. What they also started having was new perspectives. They started thinking bigger. They started thinking, why aren't I doing things differently? And I don't know why that's the case. I don't know if the mobile phone is sometimes a hamperer of thought and perspection as well. Perspection, is that even a word? Perspective. But this is what a lot of people said. They pretty much said it's just been a real opener, been able to re-communicate with people, think differently, act differently, sleep better. And there's something in that I think we can all learn. And some people went on to say it was a life changing experience. Now that's a big old statement from just putting down a piece of kit, costing you absolutely zero. But wow, I think this is something from this. We can't all go off and take part in an experiment like this, but maybe we can take part in our own experiment to try and see what happens, see the feelings that we get. So let's just have a little look at some fine art. Again, there's something in the brain. Scans have revealed that when we look at these paintings, we start to feel pleasure and our decision-making ability increases. Dopamine gets released as well, which is the happy drug. So just look at great art as well. And how do we do this then? So how do we switch off? So there's two approaches to this, and I'll talk about the first one now, and then I'll talk about the second one a little bit later. If you Google how to do a digital detox, people will give you so much advice. Do this and do this and do this, and I think a lot of it isn't really advice. A lot of it is just content, and I think switching off is a bit more natural than that. I think if I'm honest, I think the best way is you take your devices and you put them in that drawer. You turn them off over a weekend or whatever you feel like you can do, and you don't get them out again. Okay, and for some of us that might seem like, yep, no problem. For others, that might feel a very scary thing to do. But it is kind of the way of doing it and figuring out if you are addicted to these devices. But I think you can only do that if you've done a few steps first. And this is kind of about being maybe a little bit honest with people. Don't know about you, but I do have a guilt. I have a guilt about using the device, but I also have a guilt about not being there at the end of an email or text message. So I think this is about allowing yourself to be honest and saying, I am stepping away, and tell people whether that is in an email footer, an autoresponder, on your voicemail, send a message out beforehand to tell people your plans, to reset expectations so that you're not there while switching off without the device thinking, what if someone is trying to contact me right now? Give them some channels if they really need to contact you. But other than that, put it away. Now, this is the biggest step. How long is up to you, but I think this is probably the best, if I'm honest, and something we should be probably doing on a weekly basis at some points. But it can feel overwhelming, and we're going to look at some ways of maybe how we can bridge that gap. But before we do, let's just look at the color blue. So again, science has been shown that just looking at the color blue takes away that stress. So surround yourself with the blue. Even better, lay down and look at the sky. What an amazing way just to chill. And I'm so sorry that I'm showing you a picture of blue in Digital Detox. So let's now think about a different way. Let's talk about devices, and this is a bit juxtaposed. I've impressed myself with that word. It might not be right. I'm giving you advice of Digital Detox, and we're going to look at how the phone and tools can actually help us do this. Now this is I'm sort of that middle ground of how can we get some calmness back in our lives. So let's do that. Let's jump into it. Space App. Space App is a fantastic app for people who want to break down their usage. It's actually for people that think they are addicted to their phones. And it's basically a change behavior app. And it's really, really effective once you understand how you're using your phone, how you can then change. And you might be interested or surprised to see how much it is impacting your life. The next tool is Freedom. Freedom allows you to block the websites that are distracting you. So we still have to work, and we get that, but probably we lose a lot of our time to guilty pleasures, which is fine, but if we're talking about switching off, maybe we don't need to be on BBC Sport 3 times a day, or the Daily Mail looking at the gossip. And what Freedom does is allows you to block these. You're in control of it, but it just means that you won't have those distractions. So suddenly, do we really need to be on these devices? Another one is Headspace. I'm a massive fan of this, and I don't use it nearly enough. It is paid. I think there is a free version as well, but it's for meditation, and it's been set up by a guy called Andy Puddicombe, I think his name is. He's a British guy, and he was a former monk. Which is, even those words don't sit well together, do they? And he discovered meditation, and he really sort of makes it easy to understand. The app is fantastic, and if you can log in and do that on a daily basis, it makes such a difference. Meditation full stop is making such a difference. Calm, you might have seen this, lots of advertising around this. It's really for sleep and relaxing, and just taking a moment before bed to make sure that you are really going into that right place of sleep. The irony is it's an app, but again, it's just finding those things that works for you. Moment is an app. I think this is iPhone only, this one, but it allows you to set limits on how much time you're using on these devices. And that's interesting. That makes you think differently about how you actually use these devices. And then off time, I know we talked about what do you do, in those emergencies, and you can't turn off the phone all the time. Well, off time is an app for Android, which basically allows you to block calls and texts and notifications at certain times. So you can just take a few hours out, and you're not going to have interruptions in that time. The iPhone has a do not disturb function. I don't know if you've used it. It's brilliant. You can sync it with your calendar. So when you're in a meeting, it can kick in. Again, just a really, really simple way of just making sure you're giving yourself some time. And then a really interesting thing that started is wearables. Wearables that actually allow you to still communicate. So Ringly is a really interesting one. It's fashion. It's aimed at women. it's jewelry, but you set it to contact you for the important stuff. So you can set, if certain people are calling you for the jewelry, to actually send off signals to you, so then you can go to the device. It actually looks quite good as well. They're actually really, really interesting, and I think this is an area that we'll see more and more of. Not wearables for interaction, wearables to actually detox, because I think this is a real, real big space. And I know we've said so many things about, going to bed, not using your phone, but then apps to help you sleep calmer, etc. But sometimes, you know what? The reason people take their phones to bed is because they say, well, it's my alarm on it and I need it there. So the advice here would be just buy an alarm clock, which I hope that doesn't come across as patronizing. Just if you need it to wake up at a certain time, the battery's not going to go on this if it's a plugged in one. And it just allows you to charge your phone elsewhere, take it out of the bedroom, which is so, so important. And here's a picture of a puppy. Why? Because it said staring at cute pictures will actually make you happier, calmer, and more focused. And who doesn't want a picture of a puppy in their training? So I don't know where we are on time, but let's talk about what you can do in the future and how you can strike that balance going forward. I think switching off and really detoxing is good, but with everything, life is about a balance, and it's finding these little things that's going to work for you. I think it's really important to know the impact that our devices are having on us, and there is a lot of research still to be done. This is early days. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more bad things. So I think the sooner we can find that balance, the better it will be for our sanity, our health, um, uh, an awful lot of things. So you've just got to find what's right for you. What is that balance? Turning off notifications, I think, is an absolute must. Really looking at your time on social media. Is it time spent for good, or is it just consuming, mindless consumption? And even try telling people, setting yourself some rules about when you will and won't be working, and just tell people, put it in an email footer. I had an email last week from someone that they just said, I'm trying this, but here are my email times for the day. Outside of these times, I won't reply. So if you've emailed me inside these times, call me if it's urgent. And the way it was written was just brilliant. It was just brilliant. I just thought, you know what? That more people need to do that if they can, if they can. So that's us done. That's us done. Again, apologies if you are watching this, because I'll probably be wrestling a cow in a field now with some. I'm probably feeling very stressed out from technology as well. But yeah, I think take a moment, put down the device, and if you can, just try and digitally detox. Thanks. Let us know your thoughts. Drop me an email or send the feedback. There will be the link inside here as well. And we'll see you on the next boost. Bye.